Step into the untold saga of the Gilligan's Island cast, once beloved icons, now facing the unpredictable turns of fate. From sudden accidents to life-altering setbacks, their journeys have taken unexpected twists. Who managed to rebuild their lives, and who struggled to find their way. As we enter 2025, we uncover the resilience, heartbreak, and triumphs of these legendary stars. Their stories will surprise you, their struggles will move you. This is a journey through fame, fortune, and the challenges that come with it. Bob Denver, who played Gilligan, the bumbling, sweet-natured first mate, was just 29 when filming began. His innocent missteps and slapstick charm became the heart of Gilligan's Island, though the role ultimately defined and limited his career. After the show ended, Denver struggled to escape typecasting and found steady work elusive. He married 4 times. His final marriage to Dreama Perry lasted until his death, though it was marked by financial strain and the pressure of caring for their autistic son, Colin. Denver had 4 children, Patrick, Megan, Emily, and Colin, but he was estranged from 2 of them later in life. His relationships with his older children suffered due to long absences and bouts of depression. Denver battled substance abuse and faced a series of health scares, including a 1998 neck injury and a later cancer diagnosis. He died in 2005 from complications following throat cancer surgery at the age of 70. He had been living quietly in West Virginia, running a small radio station and trying to find peace. His estate was modest, valued at approximately $700,000, much of it tied to memorabilia and his home. Jim Backus, best remembered as Thurston Howell III, the pompous yet endearing millionaire marooned in tropical absurdity, was 51 when he stepped into the role. His iconic voice and comedic timing made him a beloved figure, though it chained him to typecast roles. After the series, his career waned, and he took smaller voice roles while battling Parkinson's disease, which he hid from the public for years. Married to actress Henny Backus for over 5 decades, their relationship, though long-lasting, endured severe strain as his illness progressed, and he became increasingly withdrawn. They had no children, a choice he later regretted deeply. He became embittered in his final years, reflecting often on his lost chances at dramatic roles. Backus died on July 3, 1989, at 76 from pneumonia. Despite his success, he left behind a surprisingly modest estate, estimated at $900,000, much of which went to medical expenses and the care provided in his final years. Natalie Schafer, who portrayed the posh and refined Lovey Howell, brought elegance and comedic precision to her role at age 64. Despite her on-screen chemistry with Jim Backus, Schafer's real life was lonely. She had been married once to actor Lewis Calhoun, but their volatile union ended in a quiet divorce in 1942, and she never remarried. She had no children and was estranged from most of her family, living a largely solitary existence outside of public appearances. Post-Gilligan's Island, she rarely found work, relegated to cameos that mocked her old age or status. Privately, she endured breast cancer, which she kept hidden until her death on April 10, 1991. Schafer spent her final years in seclusion, accompanied only by her nurse and a distant niece who handled her affairs. Though her personal life was marked by silence and solitude, her financial wisdom led to a surprising estate, valued at $2.5 million, most of which was quietly bequeathed to cancer research organizations and her dog's caretaker. Alan Hale Jr., who embodied the skipper with warmth and booming authority, was 43 during filming and cherished for his protective nature and fatherly rapport with Gilligan. His off-screen life mirrored that affability, but career-wise, the show became both a blessing and a curse. After Gilligan's Island, Hale struggled to find meaningful roles, mostly relegated to parodying the skipper in commercials and guest spots. He was married to Naomi Ingram, with whom he had 4 children, Alan Jr. II, Mark, Sharon, and Brian. While publicly projecting the image of a happy family man, Hale dealt with private grief, including the death of his youngest son from a car accident in 1978 and an ongoing battle with diabetes. Financial troubles emerged as medical bills and dwindling residuals ate away at his savings. He passed away from cancer of the thymus on January 2, 1990, at the age of 68. Despite a lifetime of fame, Hale's estate was relatively small, estimated at around $500,000, much of which went toward his children's education and remaining medical debts. Tina Louise, who portrayed Ginger Grant, was 30 when she stepped into the role of the sultry, red-haired movie star whose elegance clashed amusingly with island life. Louise's performance, full of old Hollywood charm, captivated audiences. Yet, her post-show career was marked by disappointment. Forever typecast, she struggled to find meaningful roles and grew bitter over being known solely as Ginger. Married once to radio announcer Les Crane, their relationship quickly crumbled under the weight of fame and insecurity. Their only daughter, Caprice Crane, became estranged in adulthood, and Louise often lamented the emotional distance. The actress never remarried and lived a reclusive life in her later years, reportedly battling loneliness and chronic health issues. Despite brief stage appearances, she found herself largely forgotten by the industry. Financial mismanagement and a failed restaurant venture drained her savings. Now 91, she lives in a modest New York apartment with minimal contact with the outside world. Her estate is estimated at just $300,000, a far cry from the glamour she once embodied. Russell Johnson, who portrayed Roy, the Professor Hinckley, was 40 when he brought to life the calm, logical scientist forever trying to get the castaways off the island. A war veteran with a strong screen presence, Johnson's intelligence shone both on and off screen. Yet his life was riddled with private tragedy. His first marriage to Edith Cahoon ended quietly, while his second, to actress Kay Cousins, bore 2 children, Kim and David. Sadly, David died of AIDS-related complications in 1994, leaving Johnson devastated. Unable to shake the grief, he withdrew from public life and declined roles that reminded him of happier times. His marriage, already fragile, collapsed under the weight of the loss. Johnson spent his final years in hospice care, often lamenting his career's sharp decline after Gilligan's Island, which overshadowed more serious work. He passed away on January 16, 2014, at age 89 from kidney failure. His estate, modest at around $1.5 million, was quietly left to his daughter and a small medical charity in his son's name. Dawn Wells, who played Marianne Summers, was 26 when she joined the cast as the wholesome Kansas farm girl whose sweetness made her a fan favorite. But the kindness she embodied on screen contrasted tragically with her real-life struggles. A former beauty queen, Wells married talent agent Larry Rosen, but the marriage ended in divorce just 5 years later. They had no children, and she never remarried, often admitting she longed for a family that never came. Financial misfortune plagued her later years. Mounting medical bills and poor investments left her nearly destitute. She was forced to turn to a GoFundMe campaign in 2018 to cover living expenses. Isolation worsened after a fall that left her briefly disabled. She died from COVID-19 complications on December 30, 2020, at age 82, in an assisted living facility. Despite her bright image, Wells led a life shadowed by regret, loneliness, and unfulfilled dreams. Her estate, at the time of her death, was estimated at just $50,000. Vito Scotti, who portrayed the eccentric Dr. Boris Balinkoff, was 42 when he lent his flair for comic villainy to the role. A prolific character actor, Scotti was known for his ability to play wildly diverse roles, but never escaped the trap of being a cultural caricature. Married to actress Beverly Scotti, the union produced 2 children, Marco and Gina, but was fraught with infidelity and volatility. They eventually divorced in 1971, and Scotti's relationship with his children grew strained as his work consumed him. 5 tragic losses marked his life, his brother's suicide, a house fire that destroyed priceless mementos, a severe gambling addiction, the death of his daughter Gina in a car accident, and later, a diagnosis of Parkinson's disease. Scotty withdrew from acting in the early 90s, ashamed of his declining health and relying on disability checks and minor royalties. He died on June 5, 1996, at age 78 from complications of lung cancer. His estate, once significant, dwindled to an estimated $200,000 due to years of addiction and medical costs. Zsa Zsa Gabor, who portrayed Erica Tiffany Smith, brought elegance and flamboyance to Gilligan's Island as a 48-year-old socialite dripping in jewels and entitlement. Her episode, while brief, showcased her larger-than-life persona. Off-screen, Gabor's life mirrored her character's glamour but was riddled with emotional turmoil. Married 9 times, her unions were often short-lived and marked by public scandals. Her final marriage to Frederick Prinz von Anhalt was legally binding but contentious, filled with accusations of manipulation and exploitation. She had one daughter, Francesca Hilton, with hotel magnate Conrad Hilton, but their relationship was strained. Gabor later disinherited her. Francesca died in 2015, just a year before Zsa Zsa. Gabor faced numerous health issues in her later years, including strokes and partial amputations, living mostly bedridden and secluded. Her life, once a whirlwind of red carpets and champagne, ended quietly in 2016 at age 99 due to heart failure. Her estate, once valued at over $40 million, had dwindled significantly amid legal battles and mismanagement, leaving behind an estimated $1.5 million. Kurt Russell, who played Jungle Boy at age 14, made an unforgettable impression as a feral, vine-swinging child of the island in one of this series' more whimsical episodes. Though the role was small, it hinted at Russell's future star power. Unlike many child actors, he transitioned successfully into adulthood with major film roles, but behind the scenes, his journey wasn't without heartache. His first marriage to actress Susan Hubley produced a son, Boston, but ended in divorce. Later, he entered a long-term relationship with Goldie Hawn, which, though celebrated publicly, was fraught with jealousy, conflicting career paths, and temporary separations. Russell's estrangement from some family members, especially his brother-in-law, has persisted for decades. He suffered a severe back injury on a movie set in the 1980s, leading to years of chronic pain. Despite these setbacks, he remains professionally active at age 73. While not known for lavish living, his combined net worth with Hawn is estimated around $100 million. Though admired, Russell often reflects privately on the isolation of fame and the sacrifices it demanded. John McGiver, who portrayed the bumbling but dignified Lord Beasley Waterford at age 53, brought a touch of British aristocratic absurdity to Gilligan's Island. Known for his rich voice and comic precision, McGiver's role was brief but memorable. In real life, McGiver was a devout Catholic father of 10 children with his wife Ruth Schmeigelski, yet the pressures of providing for a large family in a volatile industry left him emotionally drained. Despite a steady stream of character roles, he was often typecast and never achieved the stardom he craved. He struggled with depression and regret over missed artistic opportunities. 2 of his sons later became estranged, citing his emotional unavailability and temper. A near-fatal car accident in 1973 left him weakened, and he suffered from chronic heart problems. He passed away prematurely from a heart attack in 1975 at just 61. At the time of his death, his estate was modest, estimated around $150,000, most of which was consumed by medical bills and tuition for his children. His widow continued to live quietly in New York, preserving his legacy through private memoirs never published. Don Rickles, who portrayed the fast-talking and abrasive Norbert Wiley at 39, brought his trademark insult comedy to Gilligan's Island in a rare scripted TV guest spot. Though the role played to his strengths, Rickles often lamented being pigeonholed into one-note comic characters. His marriage to Barbara Sklar lasted over 5 decades, a rarity in Hollywood, but insiders noted long stretches of emotional disconnect. The death of their son Larry from pneumonia in childhood was a blow the couple never fully recovered from. Rickles, known for ribbing others, privately battled deep-seated insecurities and often questioned whether his humor masked personal bitterness. Several of his closest friendships, including with Frank Sinatra, soured over time due to perceived betrayals and professional jealousy. He suffered from diabetes and kidney failure later in life, becoming increasingly reclusive. Despite these setbacks, he worked nearly until his final year, using comedy as his shield. Rickles died in 2017 at the age of 90 due to kidney failure. His estate, bolstered by decades of live performances and voiceover work, was valued at approximately $8 million. Harold J. Stone, who portrayed the stern yet kind-hearted Dr. Morrison on Gilligan's Island, was 52 when he stepped into the role of the island's only medical expert. Known for his booming voice and authoritative screen presence, Stone brought a sense of gravity to the otherwise comedic show. Behind the scenes, however, his life was far more somber. Stone married costume designer Lila Brenner in 1945. Their union produced 2 children, Mark and Julia. Despite outward appearances, the marriage was riddled with tension, marked by long periods of separation and emotional distance. After a bitter divorce in 1963, he became estranged from Julia, who publicly criticized his absence during her upbringing. His post-Gilligan's Island career faltered, relegated to minor TV roles and voiceovers that never revived his fame. He battled alcoholism during the 1980s and lost much of his savings to poor investments. One of his sons died of a drug overdose in 1991, a tragedy from which Stone never fully recovered. He passed away on November 18, 2005, at the age of 92, following complications from pneumonia. His estate, diminished over the years, was estimated at just under $400,000, most of which was left in a modest trust for his grandchildren. Sandra Gould, who played Mrs. Howell's sharp-tongued maid, was 48 when she joined Gilligan's Island, injecting the role with biting wit and neurotic energy that made her a standout in her few appearances. Though her character served the ultra-wealthy Howell family, Gould's real life was far from luxurious. She had married radio host Larry Burns in 1940, and they had a son named Michael. However, the marriage was plagued by infidelity and controlling behavior, ending in a nasty court battle in 1957. Gould never remarried, claiming that her career always came first, though friends described her as painfully lonely in her later years. After Gilligan's Island, roles dried up, and she struggled financially, even taking telemarketing jobs to get by. A car accident in 1985 left her with chronic pain, further isolating her. Her son Michael moved overseas in the 90s and rarely contacted her. Sandra Gould passed away on July 20, 1999, at age 73, from a stroke. She died alone in a small apartment in Burbank, her estate estimated at only $180,000. Stanley Adams brought a burst of chaotic energy to Gilligan's Island as Roscoe, Fatso, Scoggins, a blundering and boisterous character whose appearances were as unforgettable as they were brief. At 43, Adams was already a veteran of film and television, but his off-screen battles told a darker story. He married former chorus girl Betty Winston in 1955, and the couple had 3 children, Stacy, Paul, and Trevor. Their marriage, though passionate, was deeply dysfunctional, marred by Adams' depression and gambling addiction. Financial troubles haunted him throughout the 60s, culminating in the foreclosure of their home in 1970. Betty filed for divorce in 1971, gaining custody of the children. Adams' career nosedived, and he found himself blacklisted after a public breakdown on set in 1973. He attempted suicide twice in the mid-70s before finally taking his life with a self-inflicted gunshot wound on April 27, 1977, at the age of 62. At the time of his death, he was living in a single-room apartment, and his estate, saddled with debt, was valued at less than $50,000. Who is your favorite character from The Andy Griffith Show? How does it feel knowing that some of the actors are no longer with us? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy this type of content, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on future uploads. Thank you for your support.